This is a setup demonstration for the Aspire Minican pod system. Inside the kit, you will find the device with one pod pre-installed, as well as a micro USB cable for recharging. We do strongly recommend the use of a 1 amp output wall block or lower, as opposed to a fast charger, to maintain the best overall lifespan of that internal battery, as well as a little instruction manual. The device itself is an auto-draw style pod system, which means there are no buttons we have to press to activate the heating of the coil. You simply draw on the device to get it to produce vapor. To remove the pod that is pre-installed, to be able to fill it, you grasp the pod and just pull right out. It attaches into the device via magnets. There are 2 magnets on the bottom of the pod and 2 magnets inside the device. And then when you're done filling it, to reinstall, you simply just drop it into place and it will be secured magnetically. To fill the pod for the first time, or any subsequent fills, we'll take a look at the bottom of the pod here, and there's your fill port right here underneath the silicone stopper. Just grab onto that and remove that little plug, and you can turn it aside to expose the fill port. Then you'll go ahead and take your bottle of liquid of choice and insert the nozzle into the fill port to fill it up. If it's not the first fill, I do also recommend, before inserting the nozzle of your bottle to fill it up, taking a piece of paper towel and taking the corner of the paper towel, twist it to get it to fit in there, and go ahead and insert that into the fill port just to clean the edges and down into the device. I do recommend inserting the paper towel far enough that you can see it enter into the pod, just to make sure that if there's any air bubbles at the fill port that might prevent liquid from entering the pod, you've gotten rid of those. I also like to then also wipe off the nozzle of my bottle before filling up as well. And then, for filling the pod itself, you go ahead and insert the nozzle of your bottle into the pod, making sure that it's inserted far enough that you can see the nozzle down into the pod itself, like so. And then simply squeeze to fill, and you can watch the liquid fill up the pod. Once the pod is filled, you can simply go ahead and take your fill port stopper and swing it back around and press it into place. Like so. If you have any liquid then that ends up on the bottom of your pod after filling it, you do want to make sure that you clean that off with your paper towel. Just wipe it dry. Since this is a brand new pod and it's the first time I've filled it, you would want to go ahead and give it about 5 minutes to fully saturate before starting to use the pod. If it's not the first fill of the pod, the wicking material should still be pretty saturated, so you should be able to just drop it in and go right away. When you start to get a burnt taste when you draw on the pod, that tells you that the coil is time to be changed. So then you would take your pod that has a burnt flavor to it and throw it away and grab a new pod to fill it up. Replacement pods beyond the one that comes with the kit are sold by the 2-pack. On the front face of the device, beneath the branding of the name Aspire, you have a small LED light. Whenever you take a draw on the device and there's a pod installed that's operational, that light will shine while you're drawing and turn off when you're done. If you take a draw on the device and that light gives you a series of blinks, you know it's time to recharge the device. In my experience so far, it takes approximately 40 minutes to go from fully discharged to fully charged with the 1 amp output wall block. While the device is charging with the micro USB cable, the light will stay shining while the device is charging, and when it hits a full charge, it will blink 20 times and turn off. And that's about everything you need to know for the Aspire Minican Kit. Happy vaping!